Hello, it's Graham Cope with another My Music. Now, second time lucky today because we have tried to go live once already today. It didn't quite work out because of the tech gremlins. This time around it will, because we have a man on his laptop who's going to fix it.
I need to get going, Mel. See you later.
Oh, there you go. The man came in with his laptop, fixed it all up, and it's all good and working now. Daniel, thanks for joining me all the way from
Fall River, Massachusetts.
There you go. The Wi-Fi seems to be working fine now.
That's good.
You've been producing new music. You've been busy, sir, since I last spoke to you. So tell me about this new album that you've produced.
I started working on this around 2020 in the height of the pandemic. I think you may have interviewed me for the last album, and we were already working on new music at that period, which ultimately ended up being some of the music on this new album. On this new one, though, I really wanted to focus more on a unity in the production of the music and stuff. Because I receive these tracks and they're of all different quality. I mean, some of them are virtually, made on little 4-track studios, and some are, recorded really well. And ultimately, it's a real challenge just to get an overall cohesive sound. When you have 15 tracks, 25, 30 different artists, you have to, find that happy middle ground where, the sound is cohesive.
Yeah. Just to explain for people that haven't met you or heard about your music before, this all goes under the title of The Pool of Autumn.
Yes.
And effectively, it's like a collective. Yeah.
Definitely, it is a collective. Other artists come in and they will send me stems or files. And, the only thing that they have to understand is if they're going to offer up stems or files, I have the right to change the songs and add what I want to them. They actually are their songs, but end up kind of being co-creations in the end, because I add what I want to the songs production wise. Sometimes I don't have to add a lot. Sometimes I'll rip the entire song apart and go from one stem to the other and add production qualities, stuff like that.
Yeah. We have we have Christina listening. Thanks, Christina. Fantastic guitarist. Just in case you ever want a really amazing guitarist on anything, that's Christina there. Musical melting pot. Absolutely, that's what it's all about. And in terms of your musical melting pot, pretty much anything goes, right?
Absolutely. I haven't done. There hasn't been any hip hop or stuff like that, but I'm open to anything
yet.
Yes. Basically, my true love is classical music, jazz. Manfred Eicher, the ECM producer, he's a big influence on me as far as an artist and my the way I build sound structures or sound design. He's a big influence on me, and even going back to like John Fryer from the early Cocteau Twin days. This Mortal Coil. That's a huge influence on what I'm doing, because it's just getting like-minded people together, as a collective of artists who kind of have the same outlook on life. Every one of us realize we're not going to, we don't have any preconceived notions that we're going to be any kind of stars. We're just guys who do music because we love it. It's just the love of making music to create music. And it's funny. I love
these Mortal Coil albums as well. I mean, it very much felt like a shared mind as much as shared music. Yeah, that was the important thing.
Yeah, and that's their music really influenced what I'm doing now. I'd say But I do like on the new album. I've added a lot of elements of classical music. I listen to a lot of classical, and I've been composing some things, chamber music, on my own that I don't know if I'll ever release. But there's elements of that sound on this new album, and I'm really happy. This one, just the overall. Even the flow of the songs, like there's 15 tracks, and probably spent 3 months just listening to the tracks in different orders, trying to make
Wow.
the the flow of the song to song be cohesive, a cohesive experience for the listener. And I want that, even small things like that are a huge part of what these albums are all about. Just getting a cohesive sound of like-minded people.
Now you chose a song to kind of lead off the album, which was "Live Today."
And there's no.
Oh, let's not. Hopefully, he's not going to disappear again. We were doing so well.
That's with a. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's my Wi-Fi. I apologize for that. Yeah, this Japanese band, One Grace Forever. I heard them on an international radio show, and I had used some Japanese artists worked with Japanese artists on some of my earlier albums. Band called One Grace Forever. That's the current band, and I liked their sound. What I did was I slowed down the track. I took away the drum track, added a different track. Then I added some trails, synthesizer trails, and just to augment the sound. And the end result it came out really nice. It's more of a dream pop sound now. Initially, I'd say it was more in the realm of what they call shoegaze music. But I took that element out of the song, kind of made it more of a dreamy, atmospheric, a la this Mortal Coil type sounding song.
Sure.
And, and they're very young artists. It's great just to cut out all these, like the age difference. It's just a community of artists of all ages. I mean, you can be 20, you can be 70. Like Luke Skyscraper James from a band Fashion, he's worked with me in all 4 of the albums, and he had his moment in the sun in the 70s, and then we have kids who are 20 on the album. My son's on the album; he's 23. He's kind of like influenced by Brian Eno and Philip Glass and that kind of stuff, and he does electronic music, and he has a track on the album where he's playing some of his electronic music. It's kind of an open book, and I think in a lot of senses that's what makes the music sound real. Is there's no, I listen to so much music today, and like I had a band in the 90s, Joanna's House of Glamour, and in those days we were signed to Rough Trade early on. But in those days, the music traveled much slower. It took a longer time for music to develop and to get out there to the people. I mean, I relied on like magazines like The Melody Maker, Sounds, NME. That's where I found music in those days. And nowadays, the music cycle was so much faster. On one hand, it's great because there's so much great music out there. But on the other hand, it just moves so quickly. I mean, the cycle of a band or a sound it comes and it goes, and like it's a double-edged sword. In some ways, it's great because there's so much great music out there to be heard, but on the other side of the coin, music just goes so quickly. And I think
absolutely, I feel that. I feel that sometimes music's too disposable these days. And then the trouble with that is that people write for a disposable market in a way, because it is disposable. It makes sense. Like any market, the more disposable it is, the more you're going to write towards that market. And as you say, once upon a time, you'd find stuff in magazines, but you'd also find stuff by, someone would buy something. They'd have the physical copy. You'd go around their house. You'd hear it. You'd then have to go and search for it. Then you'd finally find it.
Well,
then you'd play it. It could take months before, from something coming out before you got to know about it, and then it was your special thing for a while because you'd had to save up money to buy it. It was your special thing, and you held on to it for a bit, so people actually, wore their records to death.
Yeah,
as opposed to.
Oh yeah, well, it's the market nowadays. It's just so saturated with, this music. The music that is like the top 40 is just like so auto-tuned. That's just marketed towards. It's almost like a zombie movie to me, because it's just like it's a one beat. It's a one.
I know what you're saying. I mean, it's sometimes there's a good tune that will come out of that. There's sometimes, someone will cut through, and there will be something different in that. But a lot of it is, and it's always been the case that a lot of music that's in the charts is radio friendly, and it's just there to serve the serve the airwaves and everything else. But it's
it's like in the case of like this year, Big Thief, who are on 4AD, they've been nominated for 2 Grammys, and they're a quality band. I'm happy to see at least some good music is getting recognized. Some of it gets through. But everything has changed. Like I look at a label like 4AD in the 90s. That was like a Bible to me. Like all the early 4AD bands, like Dead Can Dance, This More Coil, but they obviously have to change with the times, and the artists that they have today. They have a lot of rap artists. It's they've changed completely, and it's like I know there's groups of people, they try to hold on to the past of what that label was, but everything has changed. And I just find, like, in my music, I have no expectations for it. I mean, I know it won't be a huge success and a million people will hear it, but I think that there's some like-minded people. Like, I have gotten a lot of private messages from people who like the new album and stuff. But like most of the guys who are on the album have had a little bit of success in their past, but none of them. There's no ego. That's what I love about it. The ego thing just doesn't exist. Everybody's like, here's some stems, and have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a journey that a lot of musicians go on as well within their career, especially if they become successful at one point. I was reading an interview with Stephen Wilson recently. That was quite interesting. I mean, he's obviously produced a lot of other people's music in the last few years as well. He's as well known as a producer as he is for a musician, but he's he's finally come back round, got Porcupine Tree together again after many years. And he kind of said, well, to begin with, when I was in Porcupine Tree, I was kind of a little bit disillusioned by the fact we weren't having any hits, if you know what I mean by that. But but now coming back to it, I'm kind of glad that we don't. So I think that's kind of a journey a lot of people have to go on.
Yeah, it's when I was young, when I was joining us House of Glamour, we first signed on to Rough Trade and stuff. I had these. I thought I was going to be quitting my day job, and it would be the end of the story for me. You know what I mean? And we went to England, did some shows. I thought that was it, and I came back to America, and pretty much everything went back to the status quo. So you quickly lose the. I don't know. I lost that being a star thing when I was about 25. It's just like I just like to create music. Period. So I have no expectations, truly, for any real success. It's just a bunch of like-minded people who enjoy doing music. You get people like Adrian Sherwood who are on the album, and Mark Stewart, who did a track. They're just the nicest guys. It's just like the art of sharing the music in genres, mixing of genres. Adrian Stewart and Mark Stewart have always been big practitioners of that kind of realm, of doing remixes, reworking other people's music. So I was happy to have them aboard, because in a lot of ways, we're very like-minded. Because I don't think there should be any boundaries in genres of music. It's just like anything that fits into the mold of what you're doing should work. You know what I mean? I don't put any boundaries on what I can or what I can't do musically. My friend Bruce McLeod, he runs the label that puts out the music, and he basically puts out all his music, all mine, and just like-minded friends' music. And there's no questioning commercially. Early on, we'd like submit songs to like Rough Trade. They'd reject songs. They say, no, you can't use that one. No, we don't like that one. It was that kind
Yeah.
of deal. That got stale really quickly for me. You know what I mean? Then you're on their timeline for releasing music, and sometimes, and as an artist, you can have something, a vision, and by the time the label actually releases it 3 or 4 years later, you've moved on to a whole new aesthetic in your music. You listen to it and it's like, wow, that's dated. Because
Yeah.
as an artist, you keep moving on. You keep hopefully moving forward onto, that's what being an artist is all about, continuing the creativity cycle. And when you can
Yeah,
really
not
get
get
bogged down.
stuck touring the same thing forever and a day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Christina says success is being able to play and sing. Agree with that?
absolutely. I agree to that totally. It's just like
Yeah.
no expectations, have fun. You know, I get, in general, I get 20, 25 different tracks a week sent to me from people who are interested in having me do remixes or whatever. And a lot of them are people that nobody's ever heard. And it's some of the most beautiful songwriters are just, because they haven't had the opportunity, or, the music industry is a real fight, to get in there, get in the door, even have your stuff heard. And a lot of these people, I just say, hey, that's a beautiful song. Let's work together. And they're like, some on this new album, there's like 4 or 5 people who have never had really anything released, and they're thrilled. I mean, to them, this is a really great thing, and I'm just so happy to have them aboard, and hopefully, a few people will get to hear their music. Like Christine, your friend, like I'd
Mm.
love to hear her stuff. It's probably something I could work with, and we could. I love meeting people. I love it's the community. It's the community spirit which makes it really special for me.
There you are, Christina. Uh, start that up afterwards. Exchange.
Yeah.
Tag each other on social and exchange something. The album opens with a classical type piece, which
Yes.
is huge, absolutely lovely, beautiful, broken world.
Yep.
I've a fantastic start to the album, and it kind of sets the expectation, not necessarily from a sort of genre point of view, but from a feeling point of view, and then from a sort of thematic point of view, I feel.
Yeah. With that tune, that was all done via. I'm a hard bass synth guy in studio. I'm fortunate enough to be a collector of synthesizers, and I have some really great wave sequencing keyboards. That entire song was done on an ASM Hydrosynth and a Korg wave state, and I was able to really bring in the brass sounds. And to me, that song was kind of like the bold, dramatic introduction to when I first did that. My whole
Oh, we got to put money in the meter again. Quick, somebody get money, put it in the meter. Anybody, it's all right. Just throw me some 10p pieces. It will all happen. Daniel will come back. Don't worry. It was designed. The internet is designed to do this. You see, you're in the middle of talking to someone transatlantic. You just need to put the extra pennies in, and then there it is. You see, it's back again.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Yeah, our Wi-Fi here, we're out in Fall River, and our Wi-Fi is the most dodgy Wi-Fi in the world. And I do apologize. I mean, we could be on computer now, we'd still have the same problems because the Wi-Fi here is constantly. I can't get through one television program without resetting the Wi-Fi like 15.
Oh,
It's terrible, and so I do apologize for that. It's just it's terrible here. We've tried
yeah.
several. We've tried several companies, and this one here, believe it or not, with what you're experiencing right now, this is the best we've had. So.
This is the best. This is the best of the best. Do you have? It's very difficult when you've produced a piece of work like this. Was there a favorite piece of work from the album in terms of, maybe achieving something that you hadn't done before?
Well, yeah, for me, there's one track. It's a cover of a family band song called Moonbeams.
Cool.
And with some local local musicians from Providence, Rhode Island, in a band called Jordan Everett Associates. It's Paul Everett and Craig Jordan, and they're well known locally in the Rhode Island area. But that song, when they gave me the stems and they said have at it, and it was just like an open bed of sound. I mean, the drums and stuff. It kind of musically, the way the drums were like such open and spacious, remind me of a Talks kind of laughing stock period with that
Right.
open sound. So I found a real bed there, almost just for sound design, and I enjoyed so much adding the sound design to that song. And just I ultimately, I don't know what the guys think of it, because I totally did change it. But I just for me, that's my favorite song, because it was such an open bed and there was so much open area for sound design. And I also, another thing,
while Daniel's coming back yet again, we're just going to throw this up on the screen as well. Christina's actually shared her website there. So for anyone, including Daniel, if you want to actually check out Christina's music, homepage of Christina Early Morn, because of her name, Early Morn, .com, ChristinaEarlyMorn.com. It sounds incredibly poetic, that, doesn't it?
Great. That's great.
Daniel will check that out straight afterwards.
Yep.
So
yeah, sounds great.
So,
but anyways, I like the electroacoustic sound of that song, and I really have a fascination with that acoustic music and mixing electronics with that, and like ECM Records is an example of that. European jazz sound so much. It's so different than when you think of a traditional jazz, which I love. I love Miles Davis. He's one of my biggest heroes. But the ECM element, it's the production. It's spacious. It's, I guess they call it the European jazz sound, but it's so much in the production, and the sometimes it's very quiet music, and I just love that element of it. I'm infatuated with that element of the music. So that song is one of my favorites. It's just an open song. It's got a lot of space in between the notes. And I found it was a perfect bed for, just working on sound design. It's one of my favorites.
I like it a lot. We've now got a dog going off. If the internet going down wasn't bad enough, now got a dog going absolutely mad in the background. So I do apologize for that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I got a cat staring at me right now.
Take that dog away.
Yeah.
Thank you. There we go. Everything never work with children, animals, and bad internet. It's a well-known saying. There you
Absolutely.
go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If people want to hear this album, if people want to listen to it, check it out, where's the best place for them to go?
Bandcamp, pullofautumn.com, Bandcamp. Bandcamp is as far as all the streaming services and everything, Bandcamp's one of the great ones. Actually, see some of these other ones, Spotify and stuff. It's just there's Spotify pages. I looked up Spotify, and my old band Joanna's House in Lambert, we have like 3 different pages on there that I didn't even know about. Where they basically, play our music, and what they choose is the music that we're related to. And so, it's just that the industry on every level, they find some way to take from you.
It's the most annoying thing in the world when you want to listen to a new artist's music, etc., and you click onto that link, and then you have to wait, and you have to listen to 2 or 3 other pieces of music. I mean, they're trying to get you to listen to 2 or 3 other pieces of music, which is great, but typically it's they're trying to associate it with other stuff that sells better for them, right?
Yeah.
What I love about Bandcamp is that you got that the other way around, which is that you can go straight to listen to the artists that you love, but then what you've got real people curating that as well, and go, well, if you like this, you'll actually probably like this as well.
Yeah,
Now
well,
that's the better way round, right?
yeah, absolutely. Like I read an article. A friend of mine runs a magazine, Tim Thomas, Second Scene magazine, and he had an interview with Robin Guthrie, and I
Mm.
found it very interesting that like Guthrie just recently in the last year or so has really found Bandcamp, and he's like thrilled because it's a place to like-minded people, and it's an honest place where artists actually can make a little bit of money. And some of these other places, it's just like Musk taking over Twitter, Elon Musk. It's just like all, I don't know. It's just all so digitized. I'm a big fan of vinyl and CDs. I still buy physical music to this day. I like,
Oh,
I like
so do
holding.
we.
Yeah, I love holding vinyl in my hand, reading the liner notes, and it's just so much. The experience for me is so much more full when I can actually look at the artwork and read the liner notes. You kind of get you get an impression visually of what the artist is shooting for by looking at the cover. And I'm glad vinyl's kind of coming back. It's outrageously expensive to produce. Like I'd like a vinyl edition of this album, but it's so costly, and to recoup the cost of vinyl is very hard. So we do always try to release physically on CD at least. The new
Yeah.
albums on CD as well. So it's
That's
good.
important. That's important.
Yeah.
I mean, and also vinyl. When I was talking to John Stewart online the other week, the other thing with
Yeah.
vinyl is it's expensive to send as well.
Yeah.
You the insurance on it in terms of making sure it gets there without breaking and everything else. It's really really tricky.
Yeah, a lot of the people who even listen to the Pull Volume are in the UK, and it's even sending CDs to the UK is costly. I mean, it's very expensive. I mean, in America, everything just keeps getting more expensive. I know you guys are dealing with the same stuff over there. It's just like the cost of living, and just surviving has become difficult. And the politically charged, everybody's trying to say they're going to fix things, but whoever's in charge next is going to probably be more of the same, because we're just we're consumers, but it's gotten to the point where it's just costing too much to survive, and that's what I feel.
And that's why we all need music, though, my friend. We need music to get through psychologically, mentally, everything else, and bringing us together in the way that you're doing it as well is really very important. So thanks for sharing with us today. Do go and check out the new album by Pool of Autumn. You can find it on Pool of Autumn's Bandcamp page. Do go there, check it out there, put some money in the hat, as it were, because that's important. Keep artists afloat by spending a little bit of money. Don't just stream it, because who does that pay? Until next time, that's been Daniel Darrow. Thank you very much for joining us today. Bye for now, Daniel.